Fiduciary duties in Hong Kong.
Thank you.
Please start
Thank
your presentation now.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing the topic. So basically, why carbon neutrality matters for directors is because Hong Kong has an aim to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, with 50% emissions cut by 2035, as compared to 2005 levels. So directors are now facing responsibilities to align with these goals under corporate laws. So the focus remains how the climate targets impact the fiduciary duties for the multinational boards. And the question is, how can the directors meet this legal and financial expectation in 2025? So in terms of legal framework, there is Companies Ordinance, which requires the directors to act with skill, care, and diligence. There is also an ESG regime, which is integration of your business operations in terms of your fiduciary duties to avoid legal risks. For example, if directors neglect their climate risks, in that case, they may face lawsuits for breaching their duty of care. And there is a need to have clear laws to guide the directors on their ESG responsibilities. So as a result of which, there is a big regulatory pressure in Hong Kong because Hong Kong Exchange mandates the ISSB issues which align the climate disclosures for the listed companies. And the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, it also enforces TCFD aligned reporting. Hence, the directors they must integrate ESG into their strategy in order to comply. So this type of non-compliance will lead to penalties from SFC. So the challenges that the directors face is to balance the short-term profits with the long-term climate goals. And greenwashing always remains a risk. For example, if a Hong Kong energy company faces investor backlash for misleading green claims, it also the stock prices in the short term and the long term too. So the financial impact of this type of lawsuit, again, is the reduction in the firm value and the trust. For example, ELP, a very big listed company in Hong Kong, it is a major Hong Kong energy company. It integrates ESG into its decision making. So the strategy is to make sure that it invests in renewable energy to meet the carbon neutrality goals. So this leads to investors' confidence being increasing with high valuation. And also it leads to proactive ESG adoption. It will ultimately reduce the risks and it boosts the financial performance and the shareholder expectations. There are other financial benefits of ESG integration, like it boosts the valuation, trust. It also attracts the foreign direct investments. And there are studies that show that ESG-focused firms have lower borrowing costs. For example, if a Hong Kong's bank issues green bonds, it is easier to find funding internationally. To conclude, so we need clear laws which define ESG duties for directors. There is codification needed to make sure that the legal risks are actually seen as legal risks, and it supports the Hong Kong's climate action plan for 2050. Further, there needs to be prepared. We need to have a proper roadmap for the boards. We need to arrange proper training and audits to ensure all types of compliances and resilience is in place. And finally, there is a need to explore ESG integration for smaller Hong Kong firms, because as of now, they are not covered in the legal framework. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I would love to answer.
Thank you very much, Professor. We will finish our session. I think I am the last speaker. I would like to continue to make my presentation. Let's start with this one first, I think. Um, good, good afternoon, distinguished colleagues, respected guests, and our dear fellow researchers. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here with you today. And I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the organizers of this remarkable sustainability conference for bringing together such an inspiring community of scholars, practitioners, and visionaries who share a common commitment to shaping a more sustainable and resilient future for our cities, societies, and our countries. My name is Tolga Erkan, and I'm delighted to present my research titled Spatial and Temporal Perspectives on Urban Biodiversity. Also, I will present another paper called Implementing Biodiversity in Urban Projects, which explores the relationship between urban, urban biodiversity, ecological resilience, and sustainable urban development. The inspiration for my work comes from the Technical Guide Biodiversity in Cities prepared by French Development Agency in the year 2021. I prepared these presentations with additions from the United Nations and European Union environmental studies. Urban areas represent complex and evolving ecosystems where human activity, infrastructure, and natural process continuously interact. As cities expand and densify, maintaining and enhancing biodiversity becomes a central challenge for sustainable urban development. Biodiversity not only supports ecological stability, but also underpins essential ecosystem services such as climate regulation, pollution mitigation, and water management that directly influence public health, social cohesion, and overall quality of urban life. My study investigates the spatial and temporal dimensions of urban biodiversity, emphasizing its integration into the design, planning, and governance of cities as a key strategies for ecological resilience. Through a critical review of academic literature, institutional frameworks, and applied case studies, the research analysis how biodiversity can be embedded throughout the urban project cycle, from territorial planning and risk management to neighborhood design and ecological restoration. Analysis begins by examining the relationship between natural systems, human settlements, highlighting the necessity of development context specific and knowledge-based approaches that respect local ecosystems. It further emphasizes the importance of fostering biodiversity across multiple spatial scales, ensuring territorial coherence, maintaining ecological connectivity between urban and peri-urban zones, and integrating microhabitats into the built environment. Moreover, the study explores how biodiversity contributes to well-being through the provision of ecosystem services and nature-based solutions. These include not only environmental benefits such as air purification and temperature regulation, but also social and cultural values that strengthen urban identity and inclusivity. The research underscores the need for biodiversity indicators and monitoring systems to assess ecological performance effectively and guide adaptive management. And it also addresses the growing pressure of urbanization, identifying the major risks posed by development and construction while proposing strategies for restoration. compensation, and adaptive design. I would like to continue with the trees in the cities because I would like to short to long so we can save time because I would like to ask you some questions because I took some notes while make your presentations. So I will continue with the subtitle, which is Trees in Cities. Urban trees can be spontaneous and introduced by humans. They contribute to the heritage of cities as they are part of a long-term cycle. They are useful for biodiversity and provide a number of ecosystem services. However, they can also be inconvenience or pose risk for the population if they don't take residents' expectations into account. Highways and transport infrastructure. Highways refer to all traffic routes of the road networks and include roadway destined for traffic. Its shoulders and any central islands, as well as the spaces for pedestrians, impermeable for pavements, of course. In addition, real infrastructure are linear spaces which present both risks and opportunities for biodiversity. Trees, whether grouped and aligned, contribute to improving ecological connectivity in cities and linking up the various centers of biodiversity, while isolated trees can be used by certain mobile species. Aligned trees partly meet the needs of ecological connectivity. Deadwood is particularly interesting as habitat for Saphrosphogus insect and often serves as a refuge for avifauna, I mean birds. The development of linear highways and infrastructure for land transport causes a fragmentation of the landscape. Ecosystems and habitats, sometimes preventing flora, uh, which balance between the need to serve cities and connectivity between environments. Furthermore, when these developments and green spaces are designed taking into account to the specificities of the environments and spaces in them, they can be corridors or act as a buffer zone or interface between the urban ecosystem and natural areas. I will continue with the land use, which preserve the soil if it is of good quality or compensate for its poor quality through decompactation and the addition of local topsoil. Vulnerability of population imposes a maximum of 10% of identical spaces to avoid epidemics. Select local spaces rather than introduce spaces or cultivars full of pets. Use alternative techniques to destroy pets. Select all varieties of orchids, if possible in aligned rows to safeguard the diversity of fruits and benefits from the resistance to disease. Invasive species, for example, monitor invasive species on bare soil. Biodiversity and water in the cities. Aquatic environments are both receptacles and bases for biodiversity as they provide ecological functions. They are very important in the life cycles of various animal and plant species, including terrestrial species. They also offer many benefits to the city and its residents in the form of ecosystem services such as runoff management or improving air quality. These interdependencies with water are especially marked in cities with rivers and coasts where there are wetlands. Urban watercourses, the rivers and riverbanks provide habitats for diversity and form structural ecological corridors for the entire urban ecological landscape. The ecosystem services they render are directly related to their proper morphological functioning, which first and foremost relies on the water cycle being respected. Let me continue with this. I would like to conclude my presentation.